Welcome to Penny's Pantry. I'm Penny, and today we're going to make fresh pasta with shrimp scampi. Okay, we're going to start with making the fresh pasta, and I use Caputo flour. It's a 00 flour, and the reason why I like it is because it's from Italy, and you can find a link on my website, pennyspantryfood.com. You can go there at any time and check out any products or other things that I have going on. But for this episode, we're going to use this to make the pasta. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with 2.5 cups of flour. So this is a 1/2 cup that I have, and because it's small. So we're going to do 5 of these 1/2 cups, and we're just going to make a little mountain for 5. Okay, we have our little mountain. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a little well. So I use the back of my measuring cup and I just make a little well, just like this. It's like a little bowl made out of flour. All right? And I have a little flour on the bottom, just so you can, so it's still not on the wood itself. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of salt, about a teaspoon of salt. And we're gonna use some olive oil. Now my favorite olive oil that I buy is the Partana because again, this is imported from Italy. And I have on my YouTube channel a whole thing about olive oil and all the different kinds of olive oils and what to look for. So I encourage you to go to Penny's Pantry Food on YouTube and search up the olive oil because it's really interesting. Okay, I'm also gonna use 4 fresh eggs. How do you know they're fresh? Well, first of all, they're not white, okay? These are from my friend's farm. I always encourage people to know your farmer and always buy local as much as possible. Now, eggs are not, they don't come from chickens white, they're bleached, unfortunately. And when you buy farm fresh eggs, they all look a little different. They're not just one color brown. So that's something to look for. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna crack the egg right into the well. And I use the whole egg. There's some people that just use yolks, and you could do that, but I use the whole egg. The yolk by itself is a little bit more richer. And sometimes when I can find them, which I don't always, is I use duck eggs, and those are awesome in pasta. And it's still a 1-to-1. Even though they're a little bit bigger, you would still do 4 duck eggs. And we're just gonna crack that in. So now you can see everything's in the well. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a fork and we're just gonna whisk up the eggs first, okay? We're gonna make sure all those yolks are incorporated with the whites. And after they get all incorporated, you can see it looks like more like a scrambled egg here. Now you're gonna start pulling from flour from the edges, okay? You don't wanna do too much at once because it'll make a big mess and you make a hole in an avalanche, and you don't want that. So you're just gonna mix up the egg, pulling some flour a little at a time from all different sides of the circle. And it's just gonna get clumpier and clumpier, and that's okay. I'm gonna show you what to do after that. Okay, and when we get to the thin layer of the flour, it's gonna be fast work. Now, this is not hard to do. Don't be intimidated. And I wanted to also say this, that some people use semolina flour instead of the 00, and that works too. It's all based on what you like. Some people split it, a 1/2 and 1/2. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, semolina flour is more of a yellow flour, and a lot of Italians use the semolina, and there's a lot of Italians that use the 00, and it depends on what area from Italy you're from. Okay. Here we go. Now it's getting a little thicker. It's not runny. Do you see the difference there? Okay. Now we're going to take our scraper and we're going to go scrape off everything from the fork, and we're going to just fold in now. Now it's not runny, and we're just going to fold it. Now this recipe will give you about 1 pound of pasta. If you were to buy dry pasta, it would be about the same amount of pasta. So if you're trying to figure out, well, how much is this going to feed? It's about 1 pound. It's going to weigh a little bit more than a pound because it's not dry. It still has the moisture. All right, we're just folding it in still. All right, now you see it's like crumbly, right? It's easier to handle, it's crumbly, and now we're gonna use our hands. We'll come back to the scraper in a minute, but we're gonna use our hands. Now this is when we're gonna get dirty. Now, here's the thing. People, when they use dough, like if you're used to making pastry dough or pie dough or whatever, you usually add more flour when things get sticky, right? Don't do that. I mean, you're gonna want to because it's what we're all used to doing, especially if you bake a lot, but you're not gonna wanna do that with this because we don't wanna change the consistency. We're just gonna make it work. Now, this is when you have to get a little strong. This is our workout for the day. And it's hard to do. It's not soft like bread. It's more of a clay texture. Like it's just hard to work it in. So gonna just keep my hands a little clean. Gonna bring all of our dough in because it's all measured and it has to be incorporated the right amount. All right, now it's starting to hold together a little bit better and we're just gonna keep working it. And eventually it's gonna be silky smooth, but it doesn't come without work. This is why all the old nonas, they all love being in the kitchen for hours and hours, and they're strong, and you don't mess with them because they're strong because of this stuff right here. They make their own bread, they make their own pasta, and you don't mess with the nonas. And that's a little plug for my grandchildren. Don't mess with the nonas. Okay, so we're coming to the end now, and it's getting really silky smooth. Nothing is sticky. You could just glide your hand all over it, no stickiness. Then we know it's coming to the end here. So what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna just form a nice ball here, and I'm gonna put it over here. I'm gonna put a towel over it. It's just a flour towel, and I'm gonna let it rest for about 30 minutes. And then we're gonna come back, I'm gonna make everything look amazing. All right, so it's been about 30 minutes, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna quarter up the pasta dough. And I just use my scraper tool to do that. And it's just easier to handle when it's in quarters. So the outside is a little harder than the inside, so but I wanna keep these soft, so I'm gonna cover them up when we're not using them. These are gonna be for when they're done getting put through the pasta machine. Now this is the KitchenAid. I have the attachment. If you don't have that, it's okay. You could do it by hand. Again, it's gonna use more muscle, but it's okay, you can do that. But I love using this. It cuts time and it makes everything a little bit easier. So all I did was flatten it out a little bit, okay? Because it's gotta be able to fit through the machine. And I don't want it to get all gathered up inside because if it's not thin enough, it will, and it gets gross, and then you gotta redo it and redo it. So it's smooth. See, there's nothing on my hand, it's smooth. But what I'm gonna do is I have a little bit of extra flour and I'm just gonna sprinkle it ever so slightly because I don't want it to stick to the metal. All right, I have this on the widest opening that there is, and we're gonna put it through. All right, I don't know why that didn't go through that well, but I'm gonna do it one more time. And one more time. We just wanna make sure there are no folds and that it's as thin as possible. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just make it a little smaller. We're gonna crank it twice. and we're gonna keep passing it through every 2 cranks. You don't wanna go too fast because it will get stuck. Okay, I have a few more to go through, but at this point, I like to give a little bit more flour because I don't want it to get chewed up inside there because it really makes a mess. So just a little bit. Okay, we're gonna do one more. This is the thinnest. And then I'm going to do this a few times at the thinnest. And then the last time I put it through, I'm kind of going to stretch it as I pull it through. Right? This is what it looks like. It's thin, it's smooth, it's not sticky. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this rest here on the towel as I do the next 3. I'm going to do the same exact thing 3 times over. Okay? So we're going to put it through the fettuccine cutter, and I want you to just realize, I know you can't touch it, but it's like a piece of leather. Like that's really what the texture is. It's like leather right now because I let it sit and dry for a few minutes. And it's not sticky at all. So we're gonna just put it through. We're just gonna catch it as it comes out the other side as best as we can. And we're gonna lay it flat, best as you can. All right, and we're going to do that to all the pieces. Now this is some fine looking pasta right here. We're gonna lay it out here. We're gonna let it dry for a little bit longer. And in the meantime, we're gonna start with the shrimp scampi. We'll be right back. Okay, now we're gonna start the shrimp scampi. And this is a very easy part. It just has a couple of steps that you need to know about. The first thing we're gonna do is I already have the shrimp, and I always buy the raw shrimp. You don't want to get the pre-cooked because then you're just cooking it more and it gets kind of gross. So it's already been, it was frozen. When you buy your shrimp, when you buy any fish, you should always get wild caught. You don't want to get farm raised. The wild caught is better. So you're going to do that. And as you do it, just clean up the shrimp if you need to. And I'm putting it on paper towels to kind of absorb some of the liquid so it's not going to splatter when we put it in the oil. So I'm going to just get this on the paper towels, clean it as I see anything that I need to. And then we're going to start with the pan. Okay. All right. That's good. Let me wipe my hands. Okay. I'm going to let that set for a little while. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to prepare what's going to go in the pan, and we're going to start with garlic because every good dish starts with garlic and olive oil. So we're going to just open this up. We're going to do like a half of a head. You can do more, it's up to you. There's no such thing as too much garlic in my opinion, but we're going to do a half of a head. And then this is the easiest way. We're just going to pull it apart. And then what we're going to do is we're going to smash the garlic, and smashing it kind of opens up the covering, and it's just easy to peel it off. And plus, it gets the scent, the effervescence of the garlic exposed, so it'll be more tasty in our dish. So we're just gonna peel all this garlic. Now we're gonna just chop it up. And we want this pretty fine. Now you can leave it bigger if you want to, but when I'm eating shrimp scampi, I don't want a big hunk of garlic. Some people in my family would, but I don't. So I'm just gonna slice it up and then we're gonna chop it. And there is I talked about it earlier, that I have a episode on my YouTube channel about olive oil and garlic, and you can go view that because it's a good basic video to learn different ways to chop up your garlic and use it. Okay, so the garlic is all chopped. I'm gonna set that aside. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna oil our pan. And we're gonna put a good coating of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. We want the whole pan covered. This is a hot pan. We want the pan covered with a little extra because the olive oil acts like a conduit of flavor. It pulls the flavor through the dish. That's what the olive oil is good for. I mean, it's good for other things. It's good for heart health and a lot of other great things, but it's also great for flavor. It brings the flavor throughout the dish. So we're gonna do the garlic in there. And hear the sizzle. That means that it's ready to go. All right. All right, and while that's starting to get all the flavors throughout the oil, while that's getting ready, I'm gonna get my lemons ready. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zest one lemon, and I use my cheese grater, and I use not the super fine, but the second. And I'm just gonna pull, and we just want the outer layer, just the yellow part, not the white part. So we're just gonna zest the lemon. Now, if you have a zester, that's even better, but I like this. This works too. And I'm watching my garlic. I don't want it to turn brown. Okay, we're just gonna watch it a little bit. We want it to stay white. So it looks good so far. Okay, this is pretty zested. Most of the yellow is off, right? Okay, so that's what we're gonna keep. And we're just gonna get this stuff rolling here. Okay, see how it's starting to bubble a little bit and it's starting to dance in there? Now we know that it's ready for the shrimp. Once they start to dance like that, little Mexican jumping beans. I'm gonna put the shrimp in. Not paper towel, just the shrimp. All right, there we go. And we're just gonna saute this. And this is gonna pink up pretty quickly, which is when we know that it's done. And when it's done is when we're gonna add all the other stuff to it. Now here, you can add a little butter. And I'm only gonna do a half a stick. And I'm just gonna pat it up, and you can add this right to it because this is gonna bring the flavor in also. Even with olive oil, it's so good. It kind of like enriches the olive oil. See how it just starts to change the color? All right. So as this sautés, we're just gonna wait a few minutes. All right, so you can see it's pinking up and they're curling up. So that means they're almost done. And then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna add some friends to the pan. We're gonna add the lemon. Now, you wanna try to take out the pits as much as possible. We're gonna add some lemon. And I like to use 2 lemons because shrimp with lemon just tastes better. Now, if you have a juicer, that works better, something that will take the pits out, but this works too. A little pit never hurt anybody. All right, and then we're gonna add a little white wine. Now, if you are giving this to some children, remember the alcohol is gonna burn off. It's just for flavor. Okay, and we're just gonna stir it. Remember, we never let the garlic turn brown. And how did we do that? Well, we kept adding stuff to it, so it never turned brown. When you add cold ingredients like the butter, it'll slow the cooking down. And then now with all this liquid in here, it's not gonna turn brown. We don't want crusty, gross, burned garlic in our scampi. Okay, we're gonna add a little salt. We're gonna add a little black pepper. Now, meanwhile, through all this process, my water's been on the stove. It's gonna come to a boil, and then we're gonna get the pasta going. But we wanted to get this ready before that happened, okay? Because the pasta's gonna go quick, and we wanna make sure our scampi is ready to go as soon as the pasta's done. And then after that, we're gonna add, now this is something that you may or may not wanna put in, but this is some crushed red pepper. And this is just a little, just a smidge for some heat. You can add more. You don't even have to add it in at all. It's up to you. Okay. All right. Now we're just gonna let this set and simmer at a low heat because we don't want it to continue cooking, but we want it to stay warm. I'm gonna keep it at a low heat and we're gonna get the pasta going. All right. All right, so I have the pasta here. I just pulled it off the cutting board that I had it on. And I have the water boiling. All right, so we're gonna put the pasta in and we're gonna do a couple of handfuls at a time. All right, we don't want it to be overloaded all at once and stick. And remember, we let this dry for a good 20 minutes after we cut it. And that's what's gonna keep it from sticking also. Okay, and this is, remember what I said in the beginning, this is about 1 pound of pasta that you would buy from the store. And then you're just gonna mix it up. The whole important part of making fresh pasta is to keep the water moving. Keep the pasta moving so it doesn't stick. All right, and we'll come right back and we'll plate it. All right, so the pasta's done. Been cooking it for about 7 minutes. And now you can try it to do it your liking. Some people like al dente, which is a little hard. Some people like it a little softer. Whoa, whoa. And we're gonna make a mess, but that's okay. That's how we roll. And we're just gonna put it right in the dish. Okay. And I don't strain my pasta. I haven't strained my pasta in years. I just like to pull it right out of the water. First of all, it cuts down on cleaning another dish. And second of all, I don't want it to get all the water off of it. I like some of it down there. So I like to just pull it out. Okay, so we have our scampi and we have our pasta. And what we're gonna do is super hard. Are you ready? Like, this is gonna be really difficult for you. You're gonna take it and you're gonna pour it on there. That's it. And then what I like to do is I like to pull a little of the pasta out, just a little, put it in the pan, and it acts like a mop. Oh my goodness, I smell the flavors all together. It's making my mouth water. A little bit. Okay, you're just gonna mix it up, make sure all of the pasta is coated with that wonderful olive oil and garlic. And then you're gonna pull some shrimp out to the top just for looks, because everybody likes to eat with their eyes. And then we're gonna add some fresh lemon right to the top, like that. We're gonna take some fresh parsley Cut it up, little green, just a loose chop, nothing crazy. Little parsley like that. Look at that, how pretty. And then what I like to do is, for some extra flavor, I like to add some scallions. And for color, I mean, why not? Okay, some extra. And little fresh cracked pepper. And then we're gonna add the lemon zest. Look at that. Whoa, that's beautiful color right there. With the shrimp and the green and the yellow, this looks great. Shrimp scampi with fresh pasta. I hope you try it. You could go on my Facebook page, send me a message. I'd love to hear if you tried this recipe, how you liked it. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.